By Sonic, the Car Hub Classic from Sonic. Now with a quarter-pound double cheeseburger or crispy tender sandwich and medium tots for $2.99.
Welcome back to SportsCenter. Sage Steele, Kevin Nagandi. Hello, Andre Iguodala. As we go up to the Bay Area, Iggy and the Miami Heat take on his former team, the Golden State Warriors. Iguodala's second game this season. He played, of course, with the Warriors from 2013 to 19, made a season debut with Miami yesterday after being dealt at the deadline from Memphis. Hello, Nick Friedel, live at Chase Center, where Iguodala will return to the Bay for the first time since the Warriors traded him over the summer. It's strange. He's a member of the Miami Heat now, NBA MVP Finals in 2015, and he meant so much to this franchise, Nick. What are the Warriors planning for his return tonight?
Sage, you know we're going to get the tribute video. We're going to get standing ovations. The Warriors have a couple secrets up their sleeve regarding some of his former teammates and what they plan for Iguodala. One of those former teammates is Draymond Green, and he has his own special plans for this reunion.
I'm a flagrant foul. Flagrant 2.
Like in the first quarter? Or
As soon as I get a chance.
That's a quick ejection. Flagrant 2?
It'll be worth it. I get to talk about that for the rest of my life to him. So it'll be worth it.
Now, Sage, aside from Draymond's plan, the key here is I walked out with Andre from Sacramento out of the arena the other night, and he is in great spirits. He feels like he's found a great fit with the Heat, but he knows how special this time was. He knows how special it was to play with this group, and he is really looking forward to all the excitement tonight.
Gotta love Draymond Green. By the way, a reminder, Iguodala refused to play for the Grizz this season Sunday. In his debut yesterday, scored 2 points. We'll see what happens tonight against his former teammates. 10:30 Eastern tip-off in San Francisco. Nick Friedel, thank you, as always. By the way, Giannis will not play tonight when Milwaukee hosts the Kings, and for good reason. Look, he tweeted this. He and his girlfriend, Mariah, welcomed a baby boy today. That looks like a doll, but I think we get the point. The reigning MVP tweeted this photo. Liam Charles is the name of his baby. Again, the emoji covering his face. So no Giannis. Here's the Daily Wager crew with more on that.
All right, Preston, I want to start with you. The reigning MVP is out, so how are you betting this Kings-Bucks game?
I think the most important thing to recognize is Giannis's impact on the Bucks offensively. They're actually 1.5 points better per 100 possessions when he's off the floor this season. Now, defensively, they're 9 points worse, so that's really where his impact is felt. And you look at the markets, when he sat out games and rested, they've put the point spreads down like they should be, but they've been moving the totals down, which I think is incorrect. They should actually be going higher. Tonight's a good example. I think it should be projected over 232. We're getting 228.5 or better, so it's still worth going over.
All right, so I can get behind you on that one. Solid explanation. Schwim, Raptors haven't lost in over 4 weeks, but they're laying nearly double digits tonight at home against the T-Wolves. What do you got?
I'm taking the T-Wolves. This game reminds me of a classic sports quote. You're never as bad as you are when you're losing. You're never as good as you are when you're winning. This number, 9 points, has a lot of recency bias built in. We make it 6.5 to 7. Now, I should say, we are saying that D'Angelo Russell will be playing in this game. That's what our model believes to be happening. So if he's out, I would abort. But assuming he's playing, I'm in, and I like the T-Wolves getting the points.
Yeah, still uncertain in terms of an exact playing status for tonight. I'm on the Hawks plus 8.5 at Orlando. A few things. It's just a bad matchup for Orlando, which is the NBA's second worst offensive rating, and the Hawks have already won both regular season meetings so far. Atlanta's offense just so explosive, and if you're worried about that back-to-back road games thing for Atlanta this year, teams in this spot are exactly 500 against the point spread. Orlando's just, they've lost 10 to 12. Not that great. I'll take the points with the Hawks. Don't forget you can catch Daily Wager weekdays, 6 Eastern on ESPN2. Let's go back to SportsCenter.
Doug, thank you. What to watch for brought to you by Sonic. Just 2 days after a thrilling overtime win at North Carolina, Duke back home tonight to host another tough opponent, number 8, Florida State. And the Seminoles, they've won 3 straight and 13 of their last 14. Duke has defended home well. How about 21-2 all-time against the Noles at Cameron Indoor? But this is a different Florida State team. College Game Day, Seth Greenberg and LaFonso Ellis are here. Fonz, let's talk about the emotions here for Duke. Coming off that win there in a huge rivalry, now this team's at home. What's going to be the key for them tonight against the Noles?
They can't give in to fatigue and turn the basketball over because they're playing against a Florida State team that turns teams over on 23% of their possessions, #1 in the ACC. My old coach Pat Riley used to say, when fatigue sets in, your mind goes, and when your mind goes, you start to turn that thing over. So it's going to be interesting to see if Duke can take care of the basketball and knock down mid-range shots.
When you look at Florida State's resume so far, Coach, they've got 2 wins on the road against top 10 teams. What makes them so dangerous right now?
To me, it's the versatility. They can play big, they can play small. And then when you're game planning for Florida State, who do you game plan for? Because at any given night, a different guy can beat you. They've had 9 different leading scorers this season. It could be Pat Williams coming off the bench, who had 14 the last 2 games. It could be MJ Walker. It could be Trent Forrest. It could be Devin Vassell, maybe the most dynamic jump shooter in the ACC. So when you look at this Florida State team, a scouting report's about what you're going to give and what you're going to take away. But you got to figure out what you're going to take away, because on every single night, a different guy can step up, and then they have versatility in their lineup. They can play big, they can play small. They're a matchup nightmare.
Yeah, the bench play. Keep an eye on them tonight. All right. So the last couple of years, when we talk about college hoops, right, we're talking tonight right now about teams, right? Usually, especially if you go back the last 2 years, it was Trae Young every night or Zion Williamson every night last year, right? What's Zion doing? What's this Duke team doing with all their stars? How would you describe the state of college hoops right now, Coach?
You know what? I got to be honest with you. I might have to go right to the single leg.
Please do.
You know what? Let me tell you something. College basketball is alive and well, and we need to celebrate it, because each and every night, it never disappoints. Think about this weekend. North Carolina, Duke, overtime game. How did Duke end up winning that game? I don't know. That's college basketball. You got to pay attention. You got to be locked in, because every night it never disappoints. How about LSU and Auburn? And they come back to Auburn. Think about Seton Hall and Villanova. Seton Hall going into Villanova and winning for the first time in 10 games. Every single night, we have great finishes. We have terrific teams that are competing at a high level, teams that are playing their way into the NCAA tournament. You talk about every game counts. Right now in college basketball, every game counts, and you don't know who's going to win. More number ones have been beaten, and obviously more nationally ranked teams have been beaten. You've got to tune in, because college basketball never disappoints.
Yeah, we don't have the Zion-type players, but there's some really good players in college basketball, like Seton Hall's Miles Powell, Luka Garza, Iowa. And so maybe not pro, but they are excellent collegiate ball players.
All right, we're at the buzzer. Utah is now a game and a half up on the Rockets for that 4th seed in the West. Up to Portland. Dame is doing his thing, continuing his outstanding play of late. He dropped 33 points 8 times in a win over the Heat. Iguodala played 23 minutes off the bench for the Heat in his season debut. And finally, back to the East Coast, the Sixers, they successfully defended home with a 7-point win over Chicago. Ben Simmons, a triple-double. Joel Embiid, 28 and 12. And then he did a little shush late in the game. Caused a little bit of stir in Philly. I'm not sure why, but Embiid spoke about it afterwards.
Just talking to myself, I've not been playing up to my standards. So even tonight, you look at the night, like tonight, I didn't shot the ball well, and I didn't play well. So, just mad at myself. So just gotta, just frustrated. I don't care how it looks. I'm just playing basketball and, just getting back to myself, just being a good, just playing basketball and just trying to dominate. Thank you.
NBA insider Brian Windhorst joining us live on SportsCenter. Brian, why has Joel Embiid been on such a roller coaster year?
Boy, Kevin, I can take you back to media day when I sat with him and he told me he was going to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year this year. He had such high hopes. First off, the Sixers reduced his minutes, which was to try to keep him healthy long term, but it frustrated him a little bit in the early going. And then he's had a series of injuries, most recently to his finger and his neck. But there's been a whole bunch of things bothering him, and quite frankly, it's affecting him. It's limited his aggressiveness, and he has also had issues fitting with Al Horford, fitting with Ben Simmons, nothing new. It's been a real disappointing season for him on a number of fronts, and you can see his frustration showing after what happened yesterday.
Yeah, spacing has been a big storyline, especially when we don't have that outside shot. The Sixers face the Clippers tomorrow night at home. What is Brett Brown's biggest challenge with this team right now?
It's getting them to play on the road the way they are at home. Get ready for this stat. They have the same road record as the New York Knicks. Oh, my God. Can you believe that? They're in playoff position. So Brett Brown has thrown his hands up several times this season, whether it comes to getting them to have focus on the road, defensive intensity from game to game, even getting Ben Simmons to just shoot a three. He's admitted he's failed. But the one thing is they've got that glorious home record, the best in the entire NBA. If they can carry that over somehow later in the season, to the road, they theoretically can still win the East. And that has got to keep Brett Brown and these Sixers fighting, even in this very severe doldrums of this season.
You mentioned that record, 24-2 at home. Last week, GM Elton Brand said that Brown has his full support, but he stopped short of guaranteeing Brown would be the Sixers coach for the rest of the season, saying, quote, "I'm not going to play what ifs." Brian Windhorst with us here on SportsCenter.
To baseball, Kevin, almost a week after it was initially agreed to, the blockbuster deal that's going to send Mookie Betts and David Price from Boston to L.A. has been agreed to once again. That's according to our Jeff Passman.